but then recording. But this recording.
You haven't been recording this since you started.
No, but this is after break session.
So
Last
just
edit.
resumed. But you haven't really done much.
I haven't done much of that. Hello, are we all there? Please, you let me know so that we can continue. We have extra bands we are going to be including very soon. Let me see. These are the bands we are going to be putting. We are going to be putting the cut and fill. We have station bands, we have cut and fill. So we have existing level, proposed level, then we have vertical, horizontal, and spire elevation. So please, we're only on the first band, we need to move a little bit faster. My assumption is that you have all understood the basic properties of a band, so I'm going to be moving on these ones quite a bit faster, okay? So let's go back to the next one is going to be cut and fill, okay? Cut or fill, that way. So we come to band properties. I'm anticipating or I'm assuming that everyone has added this chain edge band to whatever we have, right? Okay. So I'm now going to be changing one for cut and fill, right? So the basics is equally similar. One thing we first look at, do we have the band title box? Like you saw last time, we didn't have, this is not covered up, so make sure this is highlighted, right? So once we have that, the other thing is that we need to compose the label. We are going to compose the label from, if you come to contents, our cut, we are going to take this to cut stroke fill, okay? So I'm going to move it a bit faster. The other thing, I think I'm supposed to anchor it in the middle left. This is middle center, to make sure that we have values here, right? So click OK. So I click OK, okay. So you have data, cut data. I'm equally going to change this value, this information to cut stroke fill data. Sorry. Cut fill data. So this is what I have so far. Okay. Actually, I added a stroke, but I actually put a hyphen. Hey, in my text here, this value, right? Yes, cut stroke fill. Not first, don't mind about the band name. Okay, guys, I'm moving a little bit faster because my assumption is that you have understood the edits. So this one should be able to be easier for us to push. So do you all have that? Do you all have this, right? Okay. So now we are going to be changing the variables on this other side. Okay. So if I move to the left hand side, they are showing me that is what they call profile 1 and profile 2. Remember, for cut and fill, it's supposed to be one profile subtracted from the other, right? So as you can see, my profile 1 is, I think, is equally the same with my profile 2, right? So you're supposed to vary those two. For example, if my cut is going to be profile 1 minus profile 2, I'm supposed to define profile 2 as something different. Okay, so you can choose now design profile. Okay, So if I am to apply this change, some values will disappear. Okay. I change my profile 1 to EG, then also my profile 2 to the design profile. So my values are not displaying here. Of course, here I added my minor, but in the forms of chain edges. Don't mind about these ones. It was an error. But I'm talking about these ones. So we are going to first edit these values so that you can be able to see the changes. So let me go back so that you can be able to see change. Do you have guys that have displaying values there on the major major changes? Okay, that's great. They are not displaying because sometimes in the settings you can allow for negative values not to display. Okay. Now I'm going to first make sure that my major chain edges are having the same equation, just like my minor chain edges. Here is showing an equation for chain edge value. So I'm going to delete this. This is on my minor. What I'm going to be having is going to be profile 1 minus profile 2. Okay? So I'm going to add for profile 1 minus profile 2 and add it. Then profile 2. This is where it is for cut and fill. Yeah. So I've been corrected that we are going to be making some bit of changes. So we are going to change this equation to profile 2 minus profile 1, okay? So I'm going to highlight here. Anyway, I'm moving a little bit faster. I'm on the minor chain edges. Sorry, minor chain edges. Are all on the minor chain edges? Yes. Do you have display values on the minor chain edges? For those without display values on the minor chain edges, remember how we added for the other ones? Yes. We are doing the same. The only thing that is changing is going to be the equation that we are going to be adding. Okay? So what you have is this, there's nothing. Right? Okay, I'm going to first let that be, then also make sure that we have the same equation here. If I apply, click OK. I think they are still displaying on my side. So they are not displaying because we have no values on the other side. So I'm going to come to my minor chain edges, come here to equation. Actually, let me remove this minor chain edges, click OK, and apply. So you have nothing there, right? So if you have nothing there, it's okay. So let's first edit the major ones. You bear with me. Let's first edit the major ones, then we shall come back to our minor ones. So let's first go with the major ones, major chain edges. Let's make sure they are full band. Okay. Then come to compose. Okay. Then we are going to come to our contents. Then we are going to change this equation from being profile 2 level minus profile 1 level. Okay. Then add.
It depends on which profile to, but I'm going to add footer. Is a good profile towards the design.
Okay, let's first put the equation, then we shall change the profile. You let me know. Are we all okay? We okay? Profile 2 minus profile 1. Okay. Once I have that, most cases for the major ones, they don't display for you previews. They only do that for the minor ones, okay? So that is okay. My assumption is that you have made the right change. So I'm going to click OK. Okay. 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 Then I'm going to apply the changes. Click OK. So my values initially were not being displayed, but right now they are displaying. Okay. And I'm going to show you the reason as to why. If I come to my profile view properties, and so what this is meaning, this means that if I get my profile 1 and I subtract off my profile 2, it is giving me a positive value, right? if I interchange this to say this is my design profile, then I come here and this is my EG surface, and I click OK. They give me a negative value, right? So that means that either it's the reverse, either one of them is a cut or fill, depending on the equation that you're using. Okay? Yeah. So for now we can leave to profile 2 minus profile 1, and I'm going to still change the design. It depends. If you're working with a band, that is, we can start with cut stroke fill. So if you're cutting, what are you cutting from? We are cutting from the existing value to the cut, right? So we remember our equation is profile 2 minus profile 1. So let's start with the cut value. Whatever is negative is going to be fill, right? So what are we cutting from? We are cutting from existing value to design value. Okay? So
Is that correct though?
we are cutting
Cut up to the information.
to the formation. So that is okay. Once I click OK, the values that we are having here, which are negative value, are for cut. That means that if it's a negative value, it's a fill value, right? Which is here. We are filling instead. Right? The equation I've used is for cut, it's not for fill. So since the equation I've used is for cut, the cut values are supposed to be positive, the fill value is supposed to be negative. So we are going now add for, as you can see, I see they have some positive values, then I also equally have some negative values. Those varies also accordingly. So we are going to keep editing. I'm going to indent, or I'm going to move my values to the top of the band. Remember what we did? By moving the x-axis, I'm going to come to my minor changes, compose label. Then I'm going to move my axis to a negative value, which is negative, say, 3. You remember? Last time we used negative 4 because the values were behind the band. This time they're in the middle of the band, so we can move by a small value. Click OK, OK, then I click OK. So as you can see, now they have moved to a better position. Okay?
Yeah. That is the X offset, right?
This is the X offset, but in the negative direction. So it's a negative value, right?
Yes.
So now I'm going to add the minor changes now. Come to this view, right click, edit, minor changes. Remember compose. We don't have any variables here, right? For those that don't have, please pay attention. For those that have, I'm going to just make a few edits that you'll be able to read with you. So I'm going to add text normally. Then I'm going to add this and call this minor cut, okay, as my component name. Then I'm going to, remember once we add a text, there is a label text, remember this, right? So we are going to be just changing the equation so that we can be able to fit 1. Let's put this in band middle. Then let's orient it to 90 degrees, okay? Then the other thing is that we're going to change the equation from label text. I'm going to highlight label text. Then I'm going to come to my profile 2 minus profile 1. Then add that value, that equation. Once I click OK, this automatically has changed to a different variable. Then now I think we are good to go. And click OK. Then the other thing we need to check are our ticks also available? If you look at my minor ticks, the visibility is off, so I'm going to put this on. Once I put my visibility on and I come back to my compose label, as you can see now the visibility of my text is, my text is there, right? But remember, for the middle ones we need the short ticks, right? So I'm going to remove the full band ticks to middle ticks and make sure the middle one is off. If I come to compose my label, As you can see, this is what we are aiming at, right? So I'm going to click OK, 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 and click OK. As you can see now, my values have been able to show up. Okay? You can maintain the same precision, or equally you can vary. Perhaps this, because this is 3.5, we can take this to 3, so that can be able to look like this other one perhaps. But it doesn't really matter. It depends on what you want to display. Are we okay? Are we all on the same lane?
Yeah, I think so.
We are not. I have sent my agent in the field. He's going to be working on you. Okay. The rest of us, is there any person with any queries? So the next one is going to be existing level, and then you go to proposed levels. The only thing that is actually changing here are the equations, right? You're just only changing the equation. So we can do equally the same. Let's change the equation. I'm just going to add here levels. Come right click, come to band, then come to peripheral data. Then let's look for levels and stations, right? For elevation and station. Right? Let's look for elevation and stations, then add. Or you can do actually, some people have elevation and changes, I don't know. But as long as some elevation. You can equally, since we know how to vary the parameters, you can still create your own new, then you vary the other parameters, okay? So once you have that, make sure that you are showing labels. These ticks are very important. Some of them actually, some labels don't show up because of these ticks. So I'm just going to click OK. As you can see, I have elevations and stations. Right. So you can see there's one, there's a gap. 2, we don't have title. We don't have a title. Then also don't have a title box. Right? So I'm going to make those edits quite a bit quickly. So I'm going to just right click, come to provide your properties. 1, let's remove the gap. 0. If I click apply, you can see that is an immediate change. Then I'm going to come to my stations. Now the interest I have is this is supposed to be the existing level. That means that my profile is supposed to be an existing EG, right? So my profile I'm going to be referring to is going to be EG. And since my EG is profile 1, I'm going to use the equation of profile 1 level, right? Okay? So double click here, then I come and edit the selection. Remember, we don't have the band text and also the text, the title text, right? The box and the text. So as I click OK, and I apply, so it's OK. As you can see, there is profile data. We are going to be changing these values, right? So I hope we're all on the same page. I hope I'm not leaving anyone else behind. Remember how we change the title? We are changing the title to existing level. Okay? So what are we changing? The contents. You come to your contents. Click here. Then let's change this to uppercase. Existing level. Or you can call it, actually, you can even call it the formation level. Sorry, the formation level is that is designed, right? So this is existing level, e.g. Once I click OK, as you can see, my value has come. But remember, we are changing the title text. So I'm going to put this in the band middle, middle center, right? But remember, then the box that we have doesn't actually allow for our fingers to fit in there. So I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to change the width from 50. I'm going to put this to 100. As I do that, when I come back to my compose label, now the value fits, right? Okay? Have we all changed that value? Are we okay now? Not yet. Remember, actually here I had a value, the width that we've all been working with for the rest of the other bands. It has been 50, right? But I've changed it to 100, so that cannot be able to accommodate the other texts. So just change it to 100. Once you come to compose level, as you can see, it is now wider. So it has changed. You can equally also change the color. I'm going to choose this one, specifically yellow. Click OK. I'm going to click OK, 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 click OK. So as you can see, this is wider than the rest on the top because of the length of the text. We can also equally choose to have these ones far much wider. Are we okay? Fine. So since I've chosen this for yellow, I'm trying to capture this, right? I'm capturing these formation colors. So I'm going to change the whole of the band to yellow. So I'm going to highlight, right click, come to view properties. You know where to change this from. You come to your display. Now these are all blue. Let's change them to yellow. Okay. So it's okay. Okay. To be able to have that in yellow. Okay. The other thing is that I'm going to also add a line here. The underlining line here is going to be representative of what we have here. It's supposed to be a dotted line to show that whatever is dotted in yellow is an existing profile. Okay? Similar to, I don't know if I illustrated it here, similar to this. So let's move faster. I'm going to add a line. Just bear with me. I'm going to add a line. Come to my band. Now come to my band title. Now remember here we added text. Now we are going to add a line. Okay? So I'm going to add a line. As you can see, you cannot actually see the line now. I'm going to make sure that the visibility of the line is okay there. Then I'm going to anchor my line to the beginning of the text, then also anchor my line to the end of the text. So the starting point anchor feature is going to be my text. As you can see now, it's on top. But now the alignment of it is supposed to be bottom left. Right? Do you have our line in there? So I've aligned it to bottom left. Now the end of my anchor point is false. I'm going to activate this and I'm going to make it true. Once I make it true, they're telling me they're anchoring this to a feature, but I don't need it to be anchored on the text. And it's supposed to be the bottom right, so that it's anchored at the beginning of the text and also at the end of the text. Okay? You are lost?
Yeah.
Yes.
Under my name, I'm not seeing the option for line 1 in the text.
This, line 1. Can you see it? Have you added the line? Had you added the line?
It's not there.
It's not there because we just added that line. It was generally off immediately. So if I want to add a line, I will just come here and add a line. right? Once you add it, you won't see anything. So we are going to start that our anchor component, where we first want to anchor our line, is going to be on the text. We are going to anchor our line on the text. Then the starting point, anchor point of that line on the text is supposed to be the bottom of that text, but it's right, so it's left. Then the end is false. Let's make that true so that it's a true value. Then also anchor to the text and anchor this to the bottom right. So we have a text that is underlined. So you have a line that is underlined in the text, right? The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to offset it in the y-axis, both at the start of the text and also the end of the text. So I'm going to come here to the start. I'm going to move it to a negative direction of perhaps -1, as you can see. Then I'm also going to anchor it at the end, but also in the y direction to -1. So now it's a bit offsetted from the text, right? The other variables, just such as color, we are going to change this to a white color. Then equally, we are going to change the line type to a dashed type, which is oriented just like the way you see our design profile. And click OK. I don't see the changes yet. Let me highlight this. Let me use dash 2. Okay. I refuse to make any changes, but let me click OK. See if there's any changes that have been made. As you can see, it's dotted, right? Which is just as dotted, just like the way you see our values here, right? Guys, do you have all this? Do you have this? The appearance is dependent, especially for the line. This appearance here, you make sure that your anchor points, you come to the line, make sure that your anchor points. One, your anchor point here at the start is supposed to be a text instead of the features. Okay? Guys, with this query, are you listening? It's supposed to be anchored on the text, and the start is supposed to be on the bottom left, then the end is supposed to be also anchored onto the text. It's supposed to be on the bottom right. Right? Then the other thing that is supposed to change is this color. It's offset in the y, both in the negative value of the y and also at the end, the negative value of 1. Then change its color. Then also the line type. I chose dashed. Let me actually use hidden, perhaps, or let me use phantom, perhaps. Then click OK. You're supposed to have those variables, right? Are we okay? So I'm going to continue, okay? Then we are going to move now to the labels. Remember, for our labels, we only need one text. Here we have multiple texts. On these labels, we have chainage value, we have e.g., then you have finished elevation. Okay, you only need one value that is showing for existing level. So what I'm going to do, where is it showing these rest of the values? If you come back to our drawing, we have variables here. We have chainage, then we have existing, then you have finished. But you only need existing, right? So we are going to delete all these texts. We're going to right click, come to profile view properties, compose, measure, compose, label. Then you are just going to come to this. First of all, chainage value, I'm going to delete it. Existing level is okay. Then I'm going to come to finish level, just delete it. Then click OK. Okay. Okay. We are deleting finished. So we are supposed to remain with one variable. Do you all have that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm just going to add minor variables. I already have an existing variable, however I think the display is off. Come look for labels at minor changes, add it. Once I come to compose, they are supposed to be there, just like you see. This is existing level, finished level. It's in finished elevation. So I'm going to remove that and finished elevation. Remove it, click OK. Equally, I'm going to look at the ticks. The minor ticks are not there, so I'm going to add the ticks. The other thing is I'm going to use small ticks. Click OK, OK, click OK. So as you can see, I have my values showing up like that. But they are a bit offsetted, so I'm going to also edit that. Minor changes, compose. I'm going to use the 0 offset of the X. Band middle 90 degrees. I think everything is fine now. Are we okay? Are we okay? Though I'm also going to change this elevation to existing elevation. I'm going to change, sorry, the band name, I'm going to change it to existing elevation. So I'm going to come here, edit the current one, come to information, change this to existing level. Existing level. Click OK, OK. We can always change the rest of the variables later, but as long as we have some values there, okay? So I'm going to move on to finished. Now finished is equally just similar to this, right? But the only difference is that it's oriented to a different profile. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it, then I'm just going to change its title and also change the equation. The rest of the variables can stay the same. So for existing, I'm going to come here, come to existing level, and I'm going to add existing level here. Then I'm going to compose. One, I'm going to remove this variable to 0. Now I have also existing level again. Once I click OK, I have existing level again, right? But I'm going to change it to final or formation level, okay? So I'm going to just change this to formation level. One is that I'm going to come here. Instead of existing, I'm going to change the information to formation level. Formation level. I come to my band text or title text. Then change this to information level. It's information level, click OK. Now it has already changed information level. Okay. Now we are just going to change, this was in blue, so I'm just going to change its color to blue. Let me use this blue. And also the line, I'm going to change it to straight line blue. I'm going to change this to blue. Let me use this blue. Okay. Click OK. Click OK. OK. So now, oh sorry. Sorry. I think I made an error. Also. This is existing level. Instead of us changing existing level, we are going to create a copy. I would change the current one, but let's just create a copy. Once we create a copy, we are going to change this copy to information level. My apologies. Information level. I'm going to change this band text, just like we had it similarly. Change this to information level. I'm just hoping that everyone has understood these steps, so while I'm changing, you can help me editing your variables. So formation level, remember we also had a line we are changing it to blue. Also the text, you can also change it to blue. Okay, click OK. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to also change my displays to blue. So I have this as information level. Okay. So I hope we are all together. We can change these variables. Yes. Oh, give me a second. If you're in existing level, remember you want to create a copy of the existing level, right? You click on this drop down. Remember you've been editing the current one. This time around you click copy the current selection. So that you have here, if you come to information, it's supposed to have existing level, but it's a copy. Then just change that name. Okay? Then the rest of the properties will remain the same. You can choose to make a few changes on those properties. Which for me, I've changed the name to information level. And equally, as you can see, the display is just similar. Even the values are similar here. However, the equation, instead of now profile 1 being existing G, we are going to change it to design. And equally here to design, then just click OK. This value should be able to change. Yeah, to design. Are we okay? To design, we are changing the profile 1 and the profile values, the variables here. Remember mine here for existing levels, it was EG. Formation level is supposed to be design, so you just come here to the list and you change it to design and equally here to design. Okay? The reason why you are doing that is because it was showing us, okay, in the equation, if you come to the band variables, then you come to measure, compose, then look at the equation. It's showing me profile 1 level. So if I change my profile 1 level to the design profile of reference, to be able to show the level of that design profile. Okay? Are we on the same line?
I don't know, but
Any queries so far?
I'm not making that.
If you have any queries, I have my agent in the field.
I feel
Once you click on copy, it didn't create another copy.
Then I apply,
what I'm
it's like I'm imaging it again, then I show the still information.
Once you come here, it's supposed to be copy the current one, right? In most cases, they will bring you to burn details. But if you go to information, it should be able to show you something. Does it show you anything?
Yes.
Does it show you with this word copy?
Yes.
Good.
Then I change it
Then you change that value
to formation.
to formation level, right? Once you're done with that, you can even click OK. However, the variables here are going to be similar. One that you have up. Because you created a copy, you only changed the style, the name of the style, but you didn't change the properties. Okay? So once you click to add, does it add? Do you have two bands that are similar?
let me just do that. This one doesn't have 10. Here.
Let's find this band there. Yeah, let's add it there. Plus. Then put it 0. Then now you can come and edit this one. Yes, come and edit this formation. So much as you know, we are adding another band. Then we can make other changes. Are we there?
The compose matrix.
Do you have a ZX? These are a lot of things that control our display there. Either the text is not there, you have to add it, so you want to go to the display. Major and minor, we can, that's where you check major and minor relatives. Come together, major and minor relatives. Go to media, so we can go to the so you come to so this will be the image and winner. You come back to the Remember here we change you make sure that you know one of them so that you can change that is what we need. We have the money. And they are not this one, that's how they don't take it.
Again, we're going to move on. So, the fact that we have made it a few band sets, I'm going to just add a few of them. And I'm going to provide them as homework. So, the band set we are going to be looking at, for example, we are supposed to have the one of vertical geometry, horizontal geometry, and straight elevation, right? So these ones, I'm just going to add them, then you can be able to edit them during your free time, okay? So, come here, profile view properties. Now we have vertical geometry, just add that. Remove the gap. Then we also have horizontal geometry. Come to geometry, add that. Let's remove the gap. And click OK. It should be able to show up like this, okay? So for these bands, we are going to be able to change. This is how we display the vertical and then the horizontal geometry. Maybe you can write this down. The equation for vertical geometry, I'm just going to share the equation. You can be able to edit this later. Once you come to the horizontal geometry, sorry, vertical geometry, its equation, we have these variables. You come to the crest curves, come to compose level. Sorry?
super elevation. What
Ah.
should we choose for it?
The super elevation. Oh, sorry. Super elevation. Sorry, super elevation. It depends on the assembly you're going to be using. Remember, the assembly can have a divided lane or it can have a single carriageway. So, for example, here you could probably just use undivided with shoulders. Undivided with shoulders, then you add. It may not be display for now, but I'm going to show why it doesn't display. So for vertical, we have compose. So anyway, for vertical, once you have something that is displaying like that, this is as a result of the type of surface you are using. So for vertical, let's use the design surface, sorry, design profile. We click OK. Should be able to clear up something like that. Okay. Vertical, let's use the design profile. Once you come to this profile here, the behavior it was showing, it was for the existing profile. Yeah, so we change to design profile. Then for horizontal geometry is already okay. What you need to be showing in the horizontal geometry, for vertical, we are looking at the distance of a line and its curve value. That's what we are looking out on the vertical variables. We have the distance of the curve, the minimum curve radius, and the curve value. That's what we're going to be editing. Horizontal geometry, literally the same. You have the line. Once you have a curve, then you're supposed to display the radius. Remember, for horizontal geometry, you're looking at minimum curve radius for every design distance, right? Sorry, every design speed. So that's what you're supposed to be displaying. So I'm going to leave that as an assignment to you. Then for super elevation, you can add super elevation. However, we need to calculate for super elevation before we add it. So you come here to your alignment, you click on the alignment, you come here to super elevation and say calculate super elevation. Calculate super elevation now. Then you choose which carriageway type you're going to be using. Could be single crown. You click on next. Then the width of your lane. If you have a single, then there's supposed to be 3.5, 3.5. If you have a double, then it's supposed to be almost 7 to 7. The number of lanes on the side, you get. Then also include the crossfold. So in this case, we are going to be using the carriage type. We could probably use single crown. Are we guys there? We are not there. For us to calculate for super elevation, right? You click on the alignment, right? You highlight the alignment, the horizontal alignment. Then you come to super elevation. You go down, then calculate super elevation. Then calculate super elevation now. Then you choose single crown as a pivot method. Then you come to your lane. You're supposed to have 3.5. Can be single, right? Or if you understand it's supposed to be dual, but single crown, then you choose 2 lanes in this case.
I have undivided crown, undivided screen.
You have undivided? Sorry.
Crown.
If you have undivided crown, it's okay. Undivided, that means it's all the same. Yeah. So in the lane you can put 3.5, then the crossfold that we normally use, depending on the other table. For PEV 2 you're going to be using negative 2.5, right? Negative 2.5. number of ren, you can use 1 or 2. Then you go to next. The shoulders, you can provide the width of the shoulder. Then also the crossfold. Usually the crossfold is like -4, right? -4%. This is supposed to be, if you remember in the first day presentation, all these variables were given to you. So you just click next, then you base this on Ashto, everything is pretty standard, then you just finish. Once you're done with that, they're going to calculate for each elevation. Just click OK, OK. So once you're done with that, you come to your profile view properties. Once you come to add spare elevation, undivided with shoulders at, let's remove this to 0, then click OK. To be able to show you some variables of the spare elevation. Okay? Once you don't have that calculation made, then you're not going to have a spare elevation in your band. So I can't go through again editing all these variables for now. I'm going to give them to you as an assignment, then move on. Okay? Yeah.
You want to go through design or Google? Because I'm going through that. I'm going to go through the assembly. Quick. You go through the assembly. They can't come.
So now we are going to edit we are going to now introduce in how to design our corridor, right? So once you come to your corridor, hey, by the way, I hope everyone has added these bands, right? Okay. If you have added those bands, it's okay. You edit those during your free time. So you're going to come to corridor. You create a new corridor. As you can see, the variables they need to do. You first need a corridor name. Then you have to choose an alignment that you're going to be designing the corridor on. Then you're supposed to choose a profile, right? But also you need an assembly. For now we don't have an assembly that we're supposed to be using. You know, does everyone know what an assembly is? If you don't know what an assembly is, please raise up your hand. Okay. So an assembly is a cross-section of the rod. It's like what you're going to be using to design the rod. Well, let me use this. Okay.
They should install this extension. It has some better assemblies. The UK, whatever.
But I don't have the UK guy installed here. But
But you see, I look at this is 2021, 2020.
2020,
The
yes.
same whatever you want.
No, I'm going to just show them an assembly.
It's okay. You can go deeper.
Fine. So this is what an assembly is. It's like just like the different rod layers that we're going to be using to create our rod. Okay? So this is what an assembly is. So you have a lane and then you have a side of drain, then you have a daylight. You get? So we can only create an assembly, we can only create a corridor if you have an assembly, an alignment, and a profile. You get? Yeah. So that's what we are lacking here. If I come back to, if I go to my tool palette, you come to your tool palette close to your tool space, right? We have, if you click on the first one, we have what they call basic assemblies. Basic assemblies, we have basic assemblies, we have basic transition lanes, we have divided highways, we have primary roads, we have side, we have those that are for roundabouts, we have corner. There are multiple assemblies that you can be able to use to create a corridor. So I'm going to first use this. So I'm going to click on the basic assembly. Okay? Do you guys all have the tool palette? I hope you have all understood what an assembly is. You have a question?
Our tool palette doesn't have assembly. Test something like
You have this tool. Do you have it?
yes, but it doesn't have assembly.
It doesn't just have assemblies. So one, you first look here. I'm going to right click, and the option here is supposed to be matrix sub-assemblies. You right click on the side of the panorama. Here, along this lane, you right click, you make sure it is on matrix sub-assemblies. If it's there, it could be somewhere actually highlighted somewhere here, right? You make sure you go to the first option and you click on assemblies. They are supposed to be able to show up. Do we all have that? Anyone still with missing assemblies? We all have assemblies? Okay. So I'm going to click on the basic assembly, right? And I'm going to add it here. Okay? So far I have a basic assembly. This basic assembly, it has a few properties that they are not actually the actual ones that we're going to be using, but it's just an example. If I right click, first highlight the assembly, you can highlight on this current guy here, which is the reference to our assembly. Right click, you come to assembly properties. When you come to the construction, they're showing you what the different variables of that property is there. It's a single ground road, and then it has different design elements, okay? I'm going to do that again. The other thing that I can look at is the properties here that are not assembly properties, but these are the properties. I'm going to click here, these properties. Sorry. Those are assembly properties. I'm going to look at this. Okay. An assembly is created on this element here, and the rest of them are called sub-assembly properties, okay, or sub-assembly elements. For example, this is the lane, right? The next one is a curb. The next one is we have a side of drain. Then we have a sidewalk, side of drain. Then we have what they call a daylight. Do you all know what a daylight is? Sorry, eh? We don't know what a daylight is. So a daylight is a slope, a cut or fill slope on the side of the road. So if they are filling, if for example they have made the road layers, then they fill to a certain slope. That is a fill slope. If for example you're in a mountainous area and you create a road in there, then they cut, right? Now that's a cut slope. So that is determined by the daylight that you've provided for here. So for example, we have them both conditions here, right? What they are showing you here, let me just use this to draw. If for example, this is my level of the ground. This is a cross section of my level of the ground, right? That means that I'm going to be cutting according to this. I'm going to be cutting according to this, then come to my formation level, then also cut or grade according to my cutting slope, right? So I'm going to be cutting according to my slope. If for example my level is somewhere here, right? Then I'm going to be filling, but according to this value. Now you understand? Okay, good. So if I look at there's different sub-assemblies, for example for this lane, if I right click and go to my sub-assembly properties, my parameters, they're showing me that one, the width of this sub-assembly or the lane is 3.5, right? You can change this, also the default, let's change this maybe 3.5. Also the default slope is -2. You can use -2, 2.5. Then they are showing us the pavement depths. Here it only has 3 pavements, right? Actually 4. These are different depths. For now I'm going to go with those. We can be able to edit the other good one later. So do the same for the right hand side. Go to the parameters, 3.5. This is -2.5. Click OK. Then everything is okay. We're good to go. I'm going to repeat that one just one more last time. You highlight the subassembly, which is the line. Right click, go to subassembly properties. Then come to parameters, then change these variables 1, the width to 3.5. Then the default slope to negative 2.5%, okay? Then the rest of the variables, leave them the same. Then click OK, and then you first run with that. So we are going to create a corridor using that assembly, okay? So we are going to come to our corridor, click corridor. Then as you can see, we are going to rename our corridor to Mitiana. Mitiana corridor. Then the profile, the alignment, you know the alignment, right? Now in cases where you have multiple alignments within your drawing, you just come to this green box, you click on it, then they allow you to highlight which alignment of interest you need. So you highlight that, then you'll be able to pop up. Then design profile. Here we're supposed to be orienting it to design profile because it's not it's going to be the formation level of our corridor, right? So here you can literally do the same. Click on this green button, then come and get on which profile you're supposed to be orienting it to, which is this. So I click on this to be able to come here, right? Then the assembly, I'm going to do the same. I can just, if I have a list of them and they are multiple, I can equally just use this, or if I have a list of them, then I can just come and choose on which assembly of interest I'm supposed to use. So I come here, click on this red guy, enter. So you have a basic assembly. Then the target surface. Remember our surface that we created initially? It is our terrain of the road, right? So you are going to come here, and it's already there, which is EG. Then I'm going to come, okay. So these are the parameters we have. Do you all have this window yet? Have we reached this point? Then you're going to just click OK, then rebuild the corridor. Now this is sometimes where you might have some issues. If your computer is a bit slower, it may take some time to build. Click OK. So now this is what we have for our corridor. This is how our corridor has come through. Okay? I hope everyone has something like this. Do you all have something like that? If you don't have the corridor created, please raise up your hand. I can send an agent to help you out. Do you all have something like that? Okay. So I'm going to carry on while they are helping some of you. So I've created an assembly in this format. So we are going to try to make sure that we edit an assembly according to how it's supposed to be. Need another on that size. So now the struggle we're going to be going through today mostly is going to be how to edit our assembly and have something like this, right? So you're going to have to bear with me so that we go through this quite a bit quickly. It's easy as long as you understand the basics, okay? Alright, so let's go back to our guy. Now what determines how you display these variables is what I call the code sets, right? So the parameters of these code sets. Now, what I'm doing right now is that we are using a corridor that is not our design corridor an assembly to design this corridor, which is not our final corridor, our final assembly of reference. But it's going to help us first going through this first phase. Then you're going to determine the assembly that we might have to use, which is something similar to this, or whatever engineer Martin is going to be defining to us. This one we might have to use later. But for the design, we can first go through using a simple assembly for now, right? To understand the basics. I don't want to have complicated variables. Yeah. So since this one is easier to understand for us, we can be able to use this one so that we can determine, or we can shade our corridor accordingly, just to understand the basics of shading. So we are going to begin from here. Now, an assembly is variated according to what they call code sets. Okay. So what we're going to first do, first click on the corridor, come here to corridor properties. Okay, are we all there?
Yes.
We are all here, right? Not yet? If you have a corridor, you should be here. If you don't have a corridor yet, then you're not here with us. So you come to parameters, right? Now these are the parameters. Remember when we were creating the corridor, these parameters showed up, right? Yes. What these parameters are showing us, one, is that this is the name of our corridor that we created. Then there's what they call horizontal baseline. Horizontal baseline is the horizontal alignment that we created with which is the alignment, right, of the road. Then you have the vertical baseline, which is the vertical alignment, in this case, which was the design profile. Then we have starting chainage and end chainage. Then you have frequency, we have targets. So here on the assembly, we actually also have an assembly here. Here you can actually choose which assembly you want to use in case you have multiple assemblies, in case you want to change, right? So that's what you have. So we are going to, it's okay. I think we have understood what most of these parameters, what they are used for, okay? If I'm to explain, there's what they call frequency. Frequency is the rate at which they are placing your assemblies. In this case, for example, every line that you're seeing here is an assembly placement. If I'm to illustrate better, what a corridor is generally, you're trying to follow a certain line. If, for example, my frequency, in this case, I can illustrate my frequency by, say, copying this and pasting this here, here, and here. You get? So, what my corridor is that I'm supposed to be, let me see, I'm connecting these lines together onwards. So what you're seeing typically as a corridor created is just interconnected assemblies. You see this? You get? So the frequency is the rate at which the distance between this is what they call a frequency. Now the more they are together, the more smoother this is, right? If they are further, you can see this just creates sharp corners. But if I put them closer and connect all of them, they create something that is smoother. So generally, this is what a corridor is. You're just having assemblies connected to one another. However, this center line here is our horizontal alignment. And this horizontal alignment, in nature, it is also following our vertical design profile per se. You get? So this is what we have as a corridor. So the frequency, for example, on this corridor, in this case, we have a frequency of 20. That means that at every chainage they are placing a what? An assembly. But equally, they also place assemblies that they call geometrical points. Geometrical points is where you have a beginning of the curve and the end of the curve. But that beginning of the curve may not be actually a chain edge value that is of 2020. Can be somewhere in between 20. That's why you're seeing these lines that are multiple, right? But however, most of them are in differences of 2020 and also geometrical points, since we have multiple curves in there. So that's what they are trying to show us. So the frequency is determined by the rate at which you're placing your assemblies. I hope you have understood that. Okay? Do you have any queries before we move on? So this is the frequency. You can actually even come and change your frequency from here to maybe from 20. If you want to increase the smoothness of maybe a certain curve, you can reduce the frequency from 22 to 2, so that they are placed at 2 meters. You get? Yeah. So we have what they call targets. Now how targets work is that I can stretch. It's like stretching your assembly point to a certain variable. For example, let me use this. For example, I stretched this corridor. Instead of just running along this lane, it was stretched up to here. So I targeted a certain parameter here and also targeted a certain parameter this. I targeted that corridor, so that corridor lane to reach up to this point. That's why it is curved along this feature line here. You get? You understand the variables? So that's what they call targeting. You can target a certain feature so that the lane can be able to reach, including this one was also targeted along this. As you can see, this it's very smooth because I reduced the frequency to something that is small, like say 2 meters. So that is a bit smoother, especially in the corner. And this was a collection of connected alignments, right? We have an alignment here, we have an alignment here, then you connected one here, and also connected another one here. Okay? Okay. So let's move on. So those are the first parameters that we have. We have targets and we have frequencies. I hope those have been understood. We are going to be using them just in a small while. Then we have what they call codes. Now the codes, we are going to have some bit of explaining for a longer time, but let me first make an effect on codes and then see. So when I click, so for example, not display, and I allow for this, let some lines disappear, right? So I'm going to illustrate with using, I don't know if you have some board markers, so for me to illustrate the codes. Okay. So codes, what the codes help us is that they determine for us display. You get, for example, this is displayed in a grayish color, right? So a code can help you to display. This is a walkway, also displayed in a different color. Also, these other sides of drain, even also the curb has been displayed in a different color. Okay. So those are determined by the code. For example, I'm going to edit one of the codes. I can see the variables. Let me first close up. So we have what they call codes, we have what they call links, points, and shapes. Okay? These ones control the display of the assembly. Okay? So what are links, what are points, what are shapes? I'm going to illustrate. We don't have the pens there, I would have drawn quite a bit quickly. But I'm going to illustrate what are shapes, what are links. So for example, you have a lane. How these are coded? They are coded in a way that a lane is shaped in a rectangular format, right? So if I draw my lane, for example, this way, and it's oriented at a certain angle, say something like that, right? Are we there? This is my lane. It's just a layer of the lane. If, for example, this is an asphalt lane, you can have multiple layers. If I copy, you have maybe a base layer, you have a sub-base layer, then you have maybe a subgrade, somewhere like that, right? For my lanes. This is the layer of the lane, right? For multiple layers. So, what in this singular format, what it refers to my code, for me to form this rectangle, I have what they call points. I joined 4 points at the same time, right? I joined from point 1 to point 2, right? From point 2 to point 3, from point 3 to point 4, okay? So technically that's what they call points. That's what they're referring to points. Now what joins from point 1 to point 2 is called a link. I'm linking from point 1 to point 2. I'm linking from point 2 to point 3. Linking from point 3 to point 4. Linking from point 4 to point 1. So I have linked to different points which are 4, and I have 4 links, right? But what I have as a result is what they call a shape, right? So there are 4. If I come to my corridors, right click, come to my properties, I have these variables there, okay? So I have what they call a link, I have what they call points, I have what they call shapes. For example, when I was trying to say highlight this, the variables that I actually changed here for me to shade this, I was trying to edit the shapes. I was trying to change the shape shading, right? These labels that you see were anchored onto the points. These are point labels. So if I want to label something of this, then I will anchor. I'll come and edit the points, right? Now my shading of the assembly here with this gray, I'm changing the links, okay? Yeah. So that's the best way I can easily simplify it. I hope everyone has understood. If they haven't yet, I can repeat one more time and move on. If everyone has understood, then better, okay? Now, for me to shade, it's not that I'm shading entirely this link or this line here. For example, if I get this, okay, and I copy, if I make a copy of this, these are my these are my assembly points. If I connect this one to this one, if I connect this point to this next point, let me do this again. Just like the way you see we created this, I'm just taking a subsection of this, something like this, right? Yeah. So what we are going to be shading is this area here. Okay? If I'm changing the plan view, what I'm seeing from above, I'm changing what they call the area field. This is the point I'm changing, but it's affected by links. Okay. So I'm going to do that on just one link, and then we see how it is going to affect our styles. So I'm going to highlight on the corridor, right click, come to my corridor properties. Then I'm going to go to the code set I'm going to be using. One is for display, no display, because it allows me to remove those assembly placement lines. Then remember here we have multiple variables. we have multiple points, we have multiple shapes. Remember, these shapes are gotten from the shapes. Remember, you have multiple shapes for different layers. Remember, we have a layer for pavement 1, we have a layer for pavement 2. In this case, would be asphalt as a base, then sub base, whatever layers that you have. Okay. So for me to control the view for that corridor, I'm going to be editing what they call the link, but mostly what they call an area fill. However, I can't edit from here. What I can do, they're just displaying for me the properties of that code set style. In this case, I'm going to come to edit the current selection. Then they're going to display for me an editable file, okay? So the first thing we're going to be editing is the pavement, right? So the pavement, I'm going to come here, then I'm going to come to pave. But you first notice what we are editing is the material area fill, which I showed you, which is the other space that is connecting the what? The links, okay? So once I'm done with that, I'm going to click OK, OK. Now as you can see, I have shaded with a certain color, which is pale, okay? Now remember, this is just a color. We can be able to vary this color according to what we want, okay? I hope everyone has understood. Do you have any queries? But have you understood what a material area fill is? Okay, good. So for me to shade, let's do it together now, right? First step, we are going to highlight the corridor, right click, come to corridor properties, right? Then you come to your codes. The first code set that we're going to be using is going to be non-display, okay? Are we there? Good. So we are going to come to, you're going to write, you know how we can edit the current one, right? Click on that. Then you're going to, instead of information, you come to codes. Come to your links, right? Then you're going to search for pave. Are we there? As you can see, most of them have none in their area field, okay? So you're going to come here, you click on this shape here. Right? Let's go to material area field. You click on that shape, then you go, you come and you look at pave. Let's use pave. Do you allow pave? Good. So now I'm going to now edit the current selection again. So we are getting deeper, right? In plan view, remember this color? This is our field color, right? Let's change this to a different color. Let's use these variables because they're the ones that represent a road pavement. So let's can use a certain color, like say this, and click OK. This is the area field, okay? You can also use the line to be in the same color, which is this, okay? Do you all have this? Anyone having any problems? We are good? You good? Okay. So have you already changed this color to this color, right? You're not yet there. I've put a certain gray color, or you can just type in the color code value here. You can just use 252. It's not there. Where? Within the code set? Perfect. Here, it's not there. Is it there?
It's not like that.
It doesn't have the tick. It's okay, you can just choose it, even if it doesn't have the tick. It doesn't highlight.
Just question.
Yes.
First change to A. Here. So I'm going to this. Share the option.
Okay. Yeah. But had you selected pave? No? From the list. You hadn't yet. But now you have it. Fine. So let's edit the current one. Let's change the color to. You just click on this color icon here, this red guy. Click there. Let's choose. It is 252.
It's with Davis.
Are we all there? We all there, right? Now let's change that color, which is okay. Let's change this also to this different color. Let me use the same color, okay. Then you're going to click OK, right? Then OK, OK. Then let's apply and see how it changes. So when I apply now, I can see something like this, right? Do you have something like that? Are we all good? So, determining the colors of your alignment, it is highly dependent on which codes they're supposed to be using. Remember, we have multiple values on our link, but doesn't mean that we're supposed to be shading each and every point there, right? So. The next one I'm going to be editing is going to be the curve, right? So I'm going to look for my curve, which is this. Do you have a curve? Can we see the curve? You go to the link. Are we in the edit format of the link? You come here to a curve, then go down, then find the curve and highlight that curve. Then click OK. Click OK. Click OK and see. Our curve should be able to highlight like that. Okay? It's supposed to have. If you don't have any curve, it's okay.
It's okay.
That's why we are shading our curve is because in our assembly we had a curve, right? Sometimes when you highlight and you find that in your sub-assembly you don't have a curve, even if you put it in material area field, it won't show up. Okay? So in areas where you don't have a curve, it's still okay. You can have something else to work with, okay? So, I believe we are good to go. Curve, So, right, I'm going to highlight my corridor, right click, come to my corridor properties. Let me edit the current selection. Come to link. Let's find the curve. Have you all found the curve? Then just click on that button. Then this there is a curve. Right? Yeah. Should we retain its color like that? We can vary the colors in case you want to. If you want to change the color, do the same. Edit the current one. Edit these colors, whatever you want. Okay? Yeah, that's all. So that is for the curve. Now let's find the next step, which is called the walkway. Let's come to our walkway. Let's look for walkway. Walkway is here. Sorry.
So they have
Guys, let's look for sidewalk, not walkway. They have sidewalk. Highlighted.
Yeah.
They can look for the color, which color we are using. Currently, this is the color. So I'm going to click here. Okay. I'm going to click OK. As I can see, my sidewalk has been highlighted. Okay.
Why is it that I'm missing those? I'm missing the curve that when I go on the corridor bit, it's there, but it's not there.
Something highlighted. It's okay. Guys that have missing curve in their list. If you have some missing elements, equally, You see, as he's saying that here you don't have, say, a curve here. So what you do, you can import a code, right? For example, if you find that some elements of your assemblies are not part of the list that you have, because this is given you by default, but doesn't mean that it has to resonate with the assembly that you have. So what you do, you import codes. When you come to import codes, then they will allow you to highlight which assembly you want to connect to. For example, this time around, I want to connect to this assembly. So I'll come and click on this assembly, click on this, enter. Then they are supposed to import in all the codes that are attached to that assembly. Okay? Remember, all these codes are generated by connected different layers of the different sub-assembly elements. Remember that also things like site of drain, SODs, things like daylight, they are all connected by links and shapes. You get, and points. So all of them you can easily import all these codes by importing in a reference from our assembly. Just click on the assembly and you click enter. So in case you have an assembly that they have given to you and it's not part of the drawing, then you just still import in the codes, okay?
It's called footpath. It's outside walk.
Yeah, it's called footpath. So I have a sidewalk. Have we all edited a sidewalk? Do you have something? Yes. So on sidewalk, there is something that I'm going to show you. That instead of you having the color, we can use a pattern. Okay? So instead of you having a color, remember here we have a solid color, and also we have a scale. As you remember, for cut and fill, we edited the same way. Right? So you can still equally come here to, you come to predefined, you can browse, then you can look for a shading, say for example this one, click OK. I'm going to reduce my scale to 0.5, just like we did last time. Then I can change the color. Let me change this to green so that it's a bit visible. Click OK. That is for sidewalk. Click OK. OK. And I'm going to click OK. So as you can see, my shading is now a bit different. Instead of a color, I have a different shading. Okay? Are we good? So that means that you can actually use a pattern that is for pavements, right? For example, just bear with me because there's a lot of going deep until you have something that you need. My editing, sorry. Come to sidewalk. So here, as you can see, the scale here needs to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to change this to 0.05. Going to click OK so that I can easily see the change. Click OK, 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 OK. So now it's a bit multiple, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the pattern to something that represents, say for example, pavement. Come to links, sidewalk, edit the current. Now I'm going to change it to a different pattern. I'm going to browse. The other patterns, like for example predefined, I can change this to earth, right? Or I can change something that almost looks like a pavement. I might want to use this. I don't know how it's going to look like. And click OK, 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 OK. So as you can see, it's very big. So it's a lot of iterations between the, especially with the scaling for different patterns. But for this one, most likely I prefer using sidewalk. I may prefer using a different pattern. Let me proceed. I may prefer using earth. This is earth. I've worked with this other pattern, but mostly its scale doesn't really work out properly. So I'm going to use earth. Okay. Let me change this scale to further small, 0.03 or 0.02. Okay. and doesn't actually display at all. Okay. So it's a bit of iteration because of the different scaling for different patterns. Software is a bit funny. Let me just take this one to the normal shading that we had used initially. At least you now understand. You can go and try different shadings. Let me go back to this one. Let me maybe use this one. Okay.
In the scale.
Did I change the scale? Didn't change the scale, okay. I changed the scale. This one. Guys, are we together? Are we together? So far what we have been able to edit, let me first delete these assemblies so that I can illustrate properly. So far what we've been able to change is the pavement, the curb, and also this assembly, right? Sorry, this shading for the sidewalk. So we have to also change, once there's some bit of cut, then there's also some bit of fill. You're supposed to have different colors, okay? So we're going to do the same here. Now mine, my background is a bit dark. I usually prefer to make it dark, in preference that when I shade my my pave, for example, I can change the base color to something that is deeper. For example, I usually use this. So since it's dark, it brings out that for example this for me works out for me properly because my background here is darker. However, for the default setting, this one is not as dark. It's a bit grayish. Anyway, so let's move on. Come to properties, then we come to I'm going to now edit, then I'm going to come to the links. We have the daylight links. You have the side of drain, but the side of drain they're not usually shaded with SOD. You can come to benchmark, sorry, datum. You can use datum for this. Yeah, it's datum. Datum is not part. For example, if we want to use datum but it's not part, what we do, we can come here and create a new. We're going to create a new style and we're going to call it datum. Datum, come to display. For my datum, I can use a different color shading. I can probably just use green. In this case, let me use green. Let me use this color. Let me use this. Okay. So it's going to be shading for the rest of my variables. Datum is just generally shading whatever doesn't, so whatever is behind the what? Whatever is behind the other elements, okay? So in this case, when I was trying to shade this other section, I was shading datum but using a different pattern, okay? This is what I was using here. So problem is there's a little bit, it may take a little bit of time trying to iterate back and forth, finding out the best pattern and also the best scale for that pattern. So if I'm to illustrate for that variable, I actually used when I came to datum, I used a scale of say 0.02. Then I use a pattern for, if you browse, I use a pattern for grass. I don't know if I can find grass here and here. Yeah, it's grass. Right? So if you use grass, you're supposed to be using a very small pattern. So a very small scale. I think it has been able to show up. You don't have data. Even in your links, it's not there.
What scale did you use?
I use 0.02. You have it in the links. If you have it in the links, then you go to edit current. Should be able to. You count your links, then you're supposed to find data. Right? Then you can be able to. Remember, here in your shapes, in your list, the data is not part. That's why you created a new style, right? First of all, it was none, so you come here and create new. So you created new, then we were able to adjust the properties. Okay? Good. So that's what we are going to change. For those that were asking for the scale that I used for data was 0.02. And I use the pattern of grass. Grass is on other prefined, then you look for G. You're supposed to be able to find grass somewhere there. Once you have grass, you click OK. You know where to find it? Here is where you can even actually change the angle. In case you're shading with lines, you can be able to orient the angles. Then here, you can change the color. So this, you click OK. Okay. Okay. Is that okay? No, So I've seen people with very nice shading. I'm very happy. It's unfortunately my drawing doesn't have cut and fill. Doesn't really show good cut and fill.
What's the plan?
Plan.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we are done our shading.
So with the flash, something to distribute.
So I'm not going to shade each and every part, right? You are going to be able to iterate it, because some people actually here, this has been able to cover up. My shading doesn't have good, I think, my properties here.
Sorry?
There's something I want to distribute.
Okay. Then you have another one.
Standard dome, with different style, better style, better ratio.
Do we ask for more flashes or you feel more busy?
I have a various, so it's fine.
Hey, it's covered.
That's so,
Okay.
yeah,
Guys, we are here to head for lunch, but for shading, you're going to allow me work with this, okay? I think there are a lot of things to shade.
the images.
For example, once we have this, we have that, okay? You can shade this. Other people actually have this shaded properly, right? Do you have everything shaded? Do you have any missing points? Except in my drawing. My drawing has some missing.
If we have flashes, we distribute this.
This what is going to be provide like some styles for shading.
Is there anyone with an extra flash so
The
can
UK,
distribute
the
something?
UK, you call it, yes. It has always
Yeah,
just
flash.
maybe.
Those who have flash, you can grab and just speak so you can move faster on that.
For those, remember the first folder that we had. It had the UK.
2020, but even in 2021, 2021, 2018, the add-ons.
We had the UK standard. So is it UK kit? It's called the UK kit. It was part of our first when we were distributing the first files. Now there are those guys that were lucky that we installed the UK kit. There are those, since we were in a hurry last time, we weren't able to install for all of everyone. And some guys on this section were only having the software installed, but not the UK kit. So Martin is suggesting that the UK kit has better shading. You can easily control. So it's going to be able to distribute while we're in lunchtime, then and also install. It installs quite a bit faster. So he has from 2020, 2021, 2022, and also 2018. So for those guys with those versions, you let us know so that you can put everything here before we continue. Okay? So for now, remember, there are people with daylight. My drawing didn't have the daylight, didn't show the daylight, but for those with daylight, you can continue and you edit the links, then you come to your daylight. You can choose the shading for both cut and fill, okay? So for example here, we can choose for
Yes, you see the
cut material. I think we had ever edited the cut material in this case. Okay, you can choose the cut material, you can still leave the pattern the same way it is. Change to 0.02. Click OK. So that is for daylight cut. Then for daylight fill, you can edit. We can come and look for daylight fill or fill material. Come and edit. Then you can choose this. Okay. I put this 0.02. So I realize that actually some people in their links in their list they don't have the same naming like I do. But I don't know if the daylight is there. Okay? But if it's there, then you look for daylight cut. In the list, you can still have missing materials, right? But remember, we can always edit those materials. You can always create your own new, okay? If you know how to vary the properties, okay? So for those with daylights, you can add for daylight cut and fill, so that every time they are cutting through every time they cut slope, it's cutting through your surface. You're able to shade differently. Every time they are filling a certain material to the formation level, should be able to shade differently in those areas on the long way corridor. Okay? So after you've done that, then you can be able to look through your elements and see what you have. Okay? Do you have something? If we all have something, then yeah, I'm going to let us go for lunch. Then we are going to come back and continue.